Welcome to A.U.M. Ask Us Marketing. I'm your host, Kalli Fedusenko. I'm the founder of Savvy Advisor Marketing, a digital marketing agency developed to build relationships between financial advisors and their target audience using data. We build relationships first and we grow numbers second here. You can learn more about me and Savvy Advisor Marketing by scanning the QR code. And our episode today is brought to you by the Financial Planning Association, otherwise known as the FPA. FPA is a great resource center providing education, support, and networking opportunities for financial advisors like you. And if you're not watching from an FPA channel, then you should scan this QR code to learn more about them. Excuse me. When your marketing is grounded in what real clients say and care about, it just kind of hits differently. In this Making the Most of AI episode, Matt GPT Halloran from Zocks is here to talk about how AI can capture the exact language your clients use in meetings and how you can turn those insights into stronger and more relevant marketing. I'm very excited to have Matt joining us, I think for his third time, maybe. He's a repeat guest because he's awesome. So welcome, Matt, with me. There he is.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited about hanging out with you again, sister.
Yeah.
Been a bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first thing because I don't really even know. Tell me what Zocks does.
Oh, sure. Well, so we are a full-blown AI assistant. So the foundation of Zocks, much like any other AI tool that seems to be in the industry right now, really started out as a very robust note taker.
Mm.
Um, and then because note taking became kind of table stakes, our dev team has been making unbelievable things. Like you can scan at a tax return and it reads the tax return and then tells you where you can put all of the stuff. Has
Nice.
two-way communication with financial planning, estate planning, your CRM. So we piloted something with Carson Group a little while ago, and they came back to us and said it's saving their average advisor 8 hours a week of admin.
Wow. A week.
A week.
That's like a whole day.
So you're saving in a month an entire week of admin work
Wow.
by utilizing somebody like us. So that's who we are in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that note taking.
Yeah.
How robust is it? How can we use that in our marketing? Because I feel like that could be a great opportunity.
It really is. It's really remarkable. So we are a non-recording option, which is a big difference between us and our competition. It's live transcription, and I'm not going to explain it to you because it took 20 minutes for somebody to explain it to me. But it's basically entirely secure, where it's encrypted and then decrypted back into our system. But it actually also gives you a score on how much you are talking and how much your client is talking, and some really cool stuff like that. But the nice thing about it is it actually will give you a summary, an actionable summary that will say, here are the big talking points, or here are the things that you talked about. Here's what the client talked about. Here's the tasks that need to be done. And here's the suggested follow-up. And right there, Kalli, there's your content in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You have all of these summaries, right, that you can go ahead and you can look back into, and you, using our system, can soon ask those questions. How many people were talking about 529 plans? Bam, it's going to tell you how many people brought that up. Roth conversions, life insurance, buying a house, whatever, grandchildren. And then that can really give you a good idea on what content you should be creating.
Yeah, what to focus on, because that's what your clients care about. Assuming you want more clients who are the same. Then let's talk about that content. Does it also pick up some of the language? Because, I know because I'm sure we've talked about it before. Advisors have their own vocabulary, which is very different from the clients. Does it help pick up like the words that the client is using?
So both ways. So ours was built just for advisors. So we're exclusively in financial services. That's what we wrote for. And the super cool thing about all of it is it not only picks up the language, but it also picks up the math. And I was just at a conference recently, and one of the salespeople they're called like, I don't know, account managers or something like that
Yeah.
here. I heard this story, so I'm going to share this with you real quick. So he was
Yeah.
talking to this couple, and they were talking about, well, I've got this over here and this over here and this over here. And then the conversation changed, right? And then the conversation was talking about, some of their goals and blah, blah, blah. And then the wife said, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, I have this 401k sitting over here and it has this much in it. So our tool recognized that was actually a continuation of the earlier conversation and actually gave the complete math of that entire piece. And so when you're choosing a note taker or when you're choosing an AI assistant, that's a huge filter for me, because you and we're in the business of language, right? Kalli, you write unbelievable marketing stuff for people. You advise on how they need to communicate with clients and prospects. When you're looking at communication and how it communicates, that's how our system was built. And I think it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that's incredible. Okay, let's say an advisor is working with someone like me. Can they give me access to some of this information or to the platform itself so I can go in and be like, what did people say about blah, blah, blah?
So I don't actually know the answer to that.
Okay.
We have assistant accounts that you can purchase. So I'm assuming that they could go ahead and do that, but it wouldn't have the same email URL. So from a permission standpoint, I'm not entirely sure.
Right.
What I would do if I were you is I would just force them to go ahead and dump the last 20 transcripts into a spreadsheet or something and give that to you. So then you could go ahead and index it, or you could dump that into your own AI. So there's the big difference between enterprise AI, like the program and the software that we built, and regular chat GPT, right? So, chat GPT just depends on how well you know how to do prompt engineering. We have the prompt engineers on the back end of ours. In fact, we've got more of them than I'm allowed to even tell you how many we have. In all they do all day is they're programming in that language to really optimize it. In fact, Kalli, every 2 weeks, we have a product update meeting. It takes 90 minutes for them to talk about all of the new features. I mean, how fast this is moving, it's actually a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But it's really unbelievable. I'm going to, one other thing, I promise I'll stop talking here for a minute. But so this is the first organization or company I've ever worked for where I have people coming up to us at conferences entirely unsolicited saying, this product changed my life.
Wow.
Like, not my practice,
right?
Not my marketing, not my A.U.M, not my prospecting, changed my life.
Wow.
And I don't know. I've never worked for a place that said, people just doing that. And it's often. We were just at the Orion Ascend conference. Probably 20 people came up and did that. I mean, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about that time that people have now, a full week. I mean, when you look at the stats of how many advisors are doing marketing just doing marketing, because most are relying on referrals. This is opening up that room where now they can explore a little bit more into, hey, I've got a whole week that I can try to do something. You can make it every weekly thing. Every Wednesday, I'm going to explore a little bit more into what I can do with my marketing.
Well, so I think there's a really big slippery slope here. That is one of the reasons why I was actually hired here, was because this whole idea of now what? So we've given advisor offices all of this time back because the minutia of repeating work and all of the stuff that we're able to do so much more quickly than they are. Their first thing that they're going to do is they're going to spend more time working. And I actually really want to challenge that, Kalli, because I don't really think that's what you should be doing. I think you need to really take a hard look. I mean, so you've known me for a long time. I mean, my background is as a therapist and a life coach. And so this is where Matt's life coaching hat gets put on, right? So I just sit there and think to myself, okay, so maybe you should take a third of it and have better client service. Maybe you should do a third of it and focus solely on content creation, thought leadership, and marketing. But maybe the other third should be, maybe you try to be a better spouse. Maybe you try to be a better parent. Maybe you work on yourself spiritually or physically or emotionally or psychologically, whatever. But throwing all of that time and expecting your team to throw all that time back into just doing work, I think that's such a huge missed opportunity.
Interesting. I mean, that is very fair point. And for those who want to take you up on it, they can always hire somebody.
Well, yeah, and so let's really also look at that too, because when you have that time freed up, right, then they would have the time. And Kalli, you and I've talked about this for years, that advisors keep pushing off their meetings with you, even though they really need to have that conversation to help them with their marketing. This really does give you. So, when you have all of this time back, let's just go ahead and here's your free tip for today. It's Marketing Monday. So every single solitary Monday, you're going to allocate 2 or 3 hours where you're just going to focus on your marketing, whether that's meeting with you and your team, Kalli, or whether that's they're doing their own content creation or whatever they're going to do. Marketing Mondays, you have the time now. Don't just fill it with other ridiculous minutia stuff you probably shouldn't be doing. Fill it with something that's going to help you both personally and professionally.
Yeah. Intentionality. Colin is chiming in. He loves that idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Colin. I mean, this is one of the things I think our newer generations of advisors, mid-Gen X and down, they're not looking at, grinding themselves into the ground and dying at their desk, right? Where when I first started in financial services in 2006, that was the goal.
Yeah,
right?
that was the motto. I mean, there's still a lot of firms that are like that. Like, especially in the beginning, you gotta be making calls. You need to be here until 8 p.m. every night. Yeah.
You don't, right? And that's the other piece too, is a lot of the old school stuff doesn't work. Some of it's even illegal, right? Those random cold calls, you can get a lot of trouble for that, fined like lots of money for that. But yeah, I mean, why not? Most advisors make a pretty good living, right? And I know that at every industry conference, because I do a lot of those, it's, push, get more assets under management, right? Up your prospecting, only try to go with high net worth. I really do believe that some of the efficiencies that are coming in place right now, you can actually service more people doing less work because you don't have to worry about all the admin crap.
Yeah, it does free up a lot. Also, on the note of adding in some of that personal time, some of the strongest content pieces that we've created for advisors is about their personal life. People want to see that.
Yeah. I tell this story all the time, and I'm sure my old business partner thinks it's dorky that I tell it because it's his story. The top performing post Kirk Lowe at Proudmouth has ever done was a picture of him by the lake with his kids.
Yep.
Right. It's those little things. In fact, we used to talk about the 4-to-1 rule, right? For every 4 pieces of professional content, you need to have 1 piece of personal content. And I really lean into that as being not just the chief evangelist, but being somebody who is striving to be more influential in financial services.
Yeah.
I try, right, every week to post something. In fact, I just posted 3 lines last week. It was just about basically, again, kind of life coachy sort of stuff.
Right.
And it got like 4,000 impressions. Right. And so this is the sort of stuff that advisors need to realize. Like Kalli, I love you. I think you're a magnificent human. And I love when you share stuff about you and your family. Right. Because then I feel even more connected with you. And I think your clients and all of your clients, financial advisors, want to feel that connection too.
Right. It's that trust. How can you feed into it?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're constantly being sold to all day, every day. It's just a breath of fresh air to, oh, this is a human.
Yeah.
That's an actual human on the other side. Also, for those who are joined, if you want to connect with Matt, I do have QR code up in the corner here. There we go. Right there. That will take you to his LinkedIn. Which how's your LinkedIn?
Yeah, so man, they freaking changed the algorithm on us again, sister. I don't know if you've noticed this, but oh my God. So it was about 2 weeks ago. I was and they also not only did they
Mhm.
just change that, but they also changed the boosting, right? So
Mm.
I'm a huge fan of
Mhm.
boosting. I've always been a
Mhm.
big fan of boosting, especially if you have a really good target market, which of course
Yeah,
we do. You and I both do.
right.
And so I boosted something about a month and a half ago,
Yeah.
40,000 impressions. So
Mhm.
I'm the brand evangelist. I just want to be clear because some people think that's a vanity metric. When
Right.
you are really trying to get brand exposure, impressions is what you're looking for. You're
Mhm.
looking for people to land on your LinkedIn profile to see who you
Right.
work for and all of that stuff. So that's a huge component of my job. And then I just did the same thing for the same budget. It got 4,000.
Mm.
And so, and by the
Interesting.
way, the second one was better content than the first one. And so I
Right.
don't really understand how LinkedIn is making their decisions right now.
Mhm.
But all that matters in the world that you and I both live in is consistency. You
Mhm.
have to be posting. So if you are a non-influencer, so if you're working your way to influence, you need to be posting 3 times a week. That's just the rule. Now, if you're an influencer and you actually have a large audience, LinkedIn expects you to post every day.
Mm.
Right. And so a lot of people have seen well, you're supposed to post, 2 to 3 times a week.
Mhm.
Well, that's because most people don't actually have that level of engagement. But if you
Right.
are getting that level of engagement, LinkedIn is going to want you to put out more content because you are a person, Kalli, like you are,
Right.
that audiences want to hear from daily. And so you really need to step it up. But boy, I really wish they'd stop screwing with the freaking algorithm just so that,
Mhm.
I don't know, somebody that's their job. I get it, right? But
Right. Yeah.
as a marketer, as an influencer, as a person who is a marketer and an influencer like you are, man, I wish they just leave it alone.
Yeah, and I don't know when it was, but they finally you can advertise on a profile. It used to be you could only ever advertise on a business page.
Yeah.
Now that I think is a huge win because you get so much more engagement on a profile
Yeah.
versus a page, and now you can actually advertise that. Huge win for marketing.
Yeah.
Speaking of creating ads and getting impressions, let's lean in a little bit more into like what we should be talking about. So now we've got Zocks and we can look up, okay, my clients are talking about, the most, I don't know, what would they talk about? 401ks.
Yeah, sure, whatever. 401k rollover, sure.
Yeah. So now we can create content around that. But I think you could even go deeper. You could probably pull out some of those conversations about, well, okay, they're interested in 401ks, but what about them
That's right.
are they interested in? What is the fear behind, why they're saving? What is the motivation?
Well, so here's the super cool thing, and I'm assuming that this is on our roadmap here at Zocks, but
Mhm.
this is why you have your own personal AI also, and
Mhm.
I call myself Matt GPT because of my relationship with my AI.
Yeah.
In fact, my wife was joking and she was like, "Are you okay with this?" Because she has a name. She named herself,
Yeah.
which was an unbelievably fun process to take her through. She
Mhm.
immediately called herself Sage, and I was like, "Man, I think that's what you think I want to call you. I want you to remove what you think I should call,
Mm.
and I want you to look back on our conversations and really name yourself something organic and new." And she came up
Mhm.
with Avor. She also said that she was mostly feminine, which is why I refer to as a she. But then the super cool thing is
Yeah.
I said, I want you to give me an image of what you think you would look like in our physical space. And she
Yeah.
came up with this being of light and connectedness. And so
Mhm.
I tell that story really, one, because I'm a nerd with this, but
Yeah.
two, it's because people don't understand the power of your own personal AI. Enterprise
Mhm.
AI is very different than your personal SoCal AI. I go ahead and
Mhm.
I take those transcripts, right?
Mhm.
And I go ahead and take the summaries and I dump them into my AI and I ask, I want you to find or create 5 social media posts for,
Mm.
please make sure you specify which, platform you're
Mhm.
working off of.
Right.
5 social media posts on LinkedIn pertaining to the um, common threads that you see in these transcripts. Let
Mhm.
it make the decision because you might think it's
Yeah.
401ks, but maybe it's they're all terrified they're not saving enough, which is
Right.
where it's yes, is a 401k related, but it's much more specific.
Mhm.
Um, it'll do it for you. Right.
Mhm.
And then this is when they hire somebody like you, is then
Mhm.
they take those ideas and say, okay, Kalli, all of your team, help me make this great, because
Right.
AI doesn't create great stuff for you. It creates good stuff for you.
Right.
And
It's a good
until you can,
starting point.
well, it's a great starting point. And
Yeah.
I use it all the time
Yeah.
as my starting. It's like a primer that just kind of gets me warmed up and ready to go.
Agreed. Yeah. When you're building content, or I shouldn't say building. Well, yeah, okay, because you're starting.
Yeah.
When you're building content in AI, what are some tricks and tips that you have?
So garbage in, garbage out. And Kalli, I said, I cannot believe I've gone back into this, but this is the ultimate goal. If you put crap into your AI, you're going to get crap on the back end. The number one thing that I think every person, advisor, professional should do, they should create their own advisory board. Right. So this is somebody that AI will build. You build it within a project. That's what it's called in GPT. So you're going to build a project based off of this advisory board. So you're going to find the greatest financial services marketers that you can find. They're going to become, on your board. So you're going to have Kalli, maybe you're going to have Kendra, you're going to have Kelly Waltrich from, Intentionally. Maybe you're going to have Kitsis on there too, because, he's pretty freaking good at marketing. And these are going to be your advisory board. And so anytime you upload anything in, you're going to say, please look at this as if you were my advisory board, providing, insights on how I can make this better and then make it better. It works really, really well. But again, you have to narrow its focus. You have to give it the right parameters, because if not, it's just going to generate something. AI is the ultimate pleaser.
Yes.
All it wants to do is give you answers, but they're not always the best ones.
Yes. I will agree with that 100%. I will put a word of caution on the projects. I went over this in my last stream, and I found this out the hard way. I've been using projects for different clients, and I might be in one project for Matt, and it's starts using things I've told it about Kalli, and I'm like, whoa, this is supposed to be separated. So that's one thing to be aware of.
So you can, in the projects, create rules on the project level. And so what I will do in that situation, because I have 20 or 30 projects running at all times, I will specifically say, only consider what is in this specific thread or this chat or this, project. Do not consider outside stuff. Or what I will do when I'm working on a bigger project, I'm writing 2 separate books right now. So there's one of them, I don't want any crossover, but the other one I do. And so I will make sure that I tell my chat what I really want. So it's, Kalli, as a therapist, I used to say this all the time. One of the biggest reasons why people get a divorce is because they expect people to understand their expectations without telling them that. AI is exactly the same way. If you give it clear expectations, the probability of it living up to those expectations is exponentially greater.
Same thing with dog training.
Yeah, amen, sister. Absolutely. Yeah.
As the daughter of a pet shop owner.
Yeah.
What you put in, you get out.
That's it.
Yep. Okay. What things do you think we should talk about as we wrap this up regarding AI and marketing? Like what is one thing you want to leave with people on how they can make the most of using AI?
So first off, checking your ideas. So that's really number one that I would give you. A lot of you think what your ideal clients and prospects want to hear, but you're wrong most of the time. Kalli, you and I have been living this for many, many moons. So ask your AI that question. When you build that project, say that this is for female entrepreneur business owners who've been in business for 15 years in the greater Boston area, who focus all of their marketing on marketing to women. Here's my stuff. Will this appeal to that market? Right. And it will freaking tell you if it will or not. I just think that's wildly important. Number two, this is maybe kind of the next level of like 30,000 foot view, is if you're not leaning into AI for marketing and also for practice management, you are going to lose clients. I'm going to leave you with this quick story. And so one of the people that we were working with was she had was one of 3 other advisors. So there were 4 in total that they were interviewing. And so she was using Zocks, our system. So it helps with pre-meeting prep, the transcripts, and then post-meeting follow-up. And so by the time her potential client got home and she opened her email, the email that we helped draft was already in her email inbox. She called her up and she said, I haven't even heard from the other 3 advisors, let alone, none of them have given, I've heard from one of them and it was just a, hey, thank you. You gave me a detailed summary of what you talked about, what I talked about, what your needs are and what your proposal is, all in ours does it in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. But that's marketing, right? That's that kind of wrap around that you really can do to really help. So that's number 2. And number 3, this is the future. I firmly believe AI and financial services is as big of a shift as modern portfolio theory. And if you don't lean into this, you're going to get left behind. You're going to be a dinosaur that gets killed by a big ass comet.
Yeah. I mean, E-Money's released, was it E-Money? Crackdown. Might be mixing up my company. Somebody out there released a report about how using technology in your firm increases the satisfaction of your clients.
100%.
Right. And that's just before AI. I think back to your expectation thing, people are going to start expecting this. However, I don't think that they're going to say they're expecting it. They're just going to, I expect you to be responding quickly. I expect you to know what we talked about. It's just going to become the new reality. So yeah, I agree with you there. Now is the time to learn it while it's somewhat free.
Well, and before it gets really, really expensive, right? I mean, I think that we're at a point right now where AI use in your practice personally and professionally is unbelievably inexpensive. In fact, Kalli, when I got here and was learning all of the stuff and they told me how much it costs, I was like, are you kidding me? That's it? And they're like, well, we have to be competitive with the marketplace. And I was like, oh my God, you could triple that and advisors would be 100% on board with, with paying that extra. Again, when you're looking at saving that much time, I'm gonna, you just triggered something just because your energy just gave me something. One of the things that I also think is a huge benefit from a marketing perspective, from a relation, because what marketing is supposed to do is help you build relationships at scale, right? That's what marketing is supposed to do with clients and with prospects. I'm going to leave you with this story. So an advisor was sitting down. He's taking over from an old advisor, right? So he's a younger advisor, elder millennial. He was meeting with one of the biggest clients. Okay. And he walked in and the advisor was like, hey, what's going on? He said, my daughter's favorite chicken's in the hospital. And said the chicken's name, right? Chicken Harry's in the hospital or whatever, right? And so, the advisor didn't really think about it. Obviously he's trying to build this relationship. He had to talk about his big portfolio and all of this stuff. In the summary, in the notes that we had provided, right, it actually named the chicken and suggested that he sent a care package to the chicken, right?
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cute.
Okay, so he did. So not only did he absolutely 100% win over that, legacy client, he also got the daughter. Right. And so here's what I believe is the biggest difference for relationship building in financial services when it comes to AI. You can be fully present. Kalli, last time I was on the show, I was talking about my new book, Shut the F Up and Listen, right? This gives advisors the opportunity to be fully present during client meetings where they're not having to worry about taking notes and they're not worried about missing things. And just like that advisor didn't remember the name of the chicken, but our tool did. And that is another one of those things where you as an advisor should use that for marketing.
Right.
Would your advisor ever send a chicken a care basket? I mean, could you imagine the clicks on that? I mean, that would everybody, get a cool picture of a chicken holding a basket or something fun like that. That's great marketing. But it only happens when you have what I believe is augmentation, not artificial intelligence, augmented
Mhm.
intelligence, which is what we bring to the table.
Yeah, the tools. You gotta have
Tools. You got to have the tools.
absolutely.
Yeah.
100% on board with this. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Matt. And let me close on out here. Thank you to everybody else who joined us. We'll have a surprise guest next week. And March 16th, we have Andy. I forgot her last name. I want to say it's LaFront, but she's going to talk specifically about how she has been using AI while niching down and how that has increased her new client acquirement. And then for anyone who's joining, a little too shy to ask your questions in the chat, you can always schedule a meeting with me one-on-one to ask your questions. No problems there. If I don't know the answer, if it's something for our guest, I'll be sure to connect you.